right. Good Friday evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me as always, man. Much gratitude for everybody who comes along the show and spends their time, especially on a Friday night, right? Well, I mean, of course, most people are probably stuck at home. There's really not much you can do these days. You can, but got to be cautious. But either way, if you're spending time with me, thank you so much for taking the time to get down here and have a conversation and just relax and enjoy your Friday night. So we already got people commenting. What's up, Nishant? Yes, sir. Me and Raj are going to have a conversation. So I kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit, but let me go ahead and get started with all the particular information, and then we're going to jump into the conversation. So guys, if this is your first time checking us out, you can check us out on our YouTube channel. Please, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, do us a favor, hit the like and subscribe button, and then you can check us out there at www.youtube.com/C/made from scratch broadcast. Please, like I said, hit the like and subscribe button. We always love to build our viewership there, and hit the notification bell, guys. It will let you know whenever we do schedule new lives, whenever we are live, like right now. Awesome. And then it will also, wow. I'm sorry, this just caught my attention. So it's Saturday morning, 5:40 a.m. Wow. So thank you so much for taking your Saturday morning with us. Awesome. So, hit the notification bell, guys. It will let you know whenever we schedule new lives, whenever we are live like we are right now, and whenever we drop new video content on the channel. So if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. And of course, you can check us out on our Facebook page at MFSB Live on Facebook. Do us a favor, hit the like button there as well. It'll send you notifications whenever we do schedule new lives, and you can hit a reminder to let you know whenever we are live on the channel. So you can drop it down in the comments. And of course, we are streaming live like Nishant is doing and watching us on LinkedIn, guys. So if you're connected with me on LinkedIn, and if you're not, send me an invitation to connect, guys. I always love making new connections and having conversations. So yes, it is awesome whenever people connect with me. And you can check us out on Twitch. We are streaming live on Twitch at MFSB Live on Twitch. I've actually had a few people follow me on Twitch, so that's been pretty exciting. So shout out to Mike Padurano for sending me there and letting me know I should be on Twitch. So awesome. And of course, we're streaming live on Twitter via Periscope, and you can check us out there as well, MFSB Live on Twitter. And you can go to the website at www.mfsb.live, and you can check us out there, check out all the past episodes. You can check out our audio content, all the stuff, good stuff that's on there as well. So thank you so much for everybody who's been watching along. And of course, did I see I got everything covered, right? YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. So Instagram, we do a little bit different, guys. Instagram, I do just a sort of one-on-one sort of thing. So if you're watching on Instagram, I do go live, and you can check us out on Instagram at MFSB Live as well. And what I do there is just again, you get this one-on-one conversation. It's our own intimate time to be together on Instagram. So if you're watching there, thank you so much on Instagram, guys. Love you. Drop it down in the comments, Instagram. Thank you so much. So, guys, I'm going to talk about this evening's guest. He is excuse me. He's an international keynote speaker, writer, and tech career coach who helps people step into leadership roles of their dreams through the services and speeches that he offers. He also is helping countless people to discover their zone of genius and leverage it to live their life to the life they love. So in his spare time, he loves to travel with his family, discovering new experiences, which include craft beer. Awesome. I love that he does that. And then you can also connect with him, and I'm going to put all his social media things in the comments, guys, so you can click on the links and connect with them. Guys, help me welcome to the show this evening's guest, let me see if I can pull it up. I'm having problems here. What's going on? It's froze. There it goes. Raj,
there you go.
There it goes. It froze up for a minute. I was going, holy crap. So, man, I was trying to do, hello, Adrian Lyles. He's watching on Instagram. So, hey, how are you doing?
I thought you were giving me a grand entrance, like magic kind of thing. Boom, right? And then it showed right there. So
that's an idea, right? I could actually make that where you could pop you into the whole conversation.
I know, man. Impressed.
So, man, thank you so much again for coming on the show. Thank you for taking the time. And, one of the first things that I was very interested whenever I was going through reading a lot of your bios, and even going back and watching some of your YouTube content. So guys, I'm going to put it in the link as well. You can go check out his YouTube channel. But one of the things that I was very interested in what you say and what you talk about is how you love to help people with their careers, help people change their mindsets. And my friend who came on earlier this week, Violet Rainwater, she actually calls it vibe set. I like that a little bit more because people can use the word mind over and over again, and it kind of gets a dull sort of tone to it. So when you say vibe, though, it's like, hey, that's my vibe set. I mean, that's my mind going and working it. So I've been using that word a lot. So I tell her, thank you for sharing that. But again, you help a lot of people. And before we go into all of that, let's learn a little bit more about you and your journey, and how you actually got started in wanting to help people change their lives and help people in their careers, because you also do tech careers, which is a big hot area right now. So let's talk a little bit more about your past, and then we'll start going into a lot of the things that you're doing now.
Sure. So as you said, I help people in the tech industry to land their dream job and become successful leaders in the industry. And all this mindset change and strategies, everything came from my real life experience, going through these motions, going through these obstacles and challenges, right? So let's just take a step back and start with where I come from, how I was before, and why I'm doing what I'm doing currently. And that'll set some context for the audience. So I grew up in the southern part of India, of course, from my Texas accent, that I'm not from here. So, so I grew up in India, from a place called Chennai in the southern part of India. And I was born into a family of genius people. Like my dad was, I think since he was born, he studied in scholarships like throughout his life. And then you have my brother who has 3 masters and a PhD, right? Wow. And then, then there I was, the average Joe who was okay with academics, but that was not really my interest, because I had a lot of other interests, right? So I love playing outdoor sports. I'm a huge basketball fan, and football too. I see your hat. And and I loved going out, meeting people, playing outdoor sports. I had other interests. But the problem is a lot of people, and many of the people viewing would agree with me, in the Asian community, academics is something which is strongly pushed onto people, because you need to be academically strong, because that's what they define success, right?
Yeah.
And what happened was, from a young age, I started comparing myself with other people, overachievers in academics. And whenever I felt that I couldn't be like another person, or even people in my family, right? They were all geniuses. And then me, I couldn't keep up with them. And what happened was, it started developing a sense of fear, anxiety. I had fear of rejection. In fact, even talking to a girl would feel like I'm going to get a nervous breakdown. Right? Wow. So I was going through low self-esteem, high self-doubt, severe body image issues, because I was a huge guy. And people made fun of me, including my family members, about my weight and stuff. So that is pretty much how my childhood was. Yes, I did have a good childhood. My parents treated me well. But the point was, there were a lot of inbuilt emotions inside me, and this fear, which I'd already developed, right?
Yeah.
And the trigger event happened during the second year of my undergrad. That's when I still remember it vividly, because I was in my room, and my chest was pounding, and I thought I was getting a heart attack, because that's the first time I found out what a panic attack was. But literally, I thought I was getting a heart attack. And then I sat in my room, and I was just sobbing for like 2 hours, because I was tired of living a life by the rules of other people. And I was tired of being an introverted, shy kid who had fear of everything, you name it. And I didn't want to live a life like that. And that's when I decided, you know what? I don't give a shit about other people. this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to carve my own identity. I matter. I'm enough. And I'm going to pave my own path to success. And I'm going to figure it out. And that's the trigger point which led to everything which we're going to talk about today. That trigger event, the first 20 years of my childhood, and the trigger event pretty much set me up for all the things I'm doing. And then I went through various challenges, which we could talk about in detail. We can take different angles. And since I came to the US as an immigrant, I faced a lot of challenges and obstacles as well. So I take all these stories, my life experiences, package it, and that's what I use to coach people, specifically in the tech industry, because I'm a techie guy. I've been in the industry for over 15 years. And all my clients are like CEOs, CTOs, VPs, directors of engineering. And I'm not special. It's just that I've been through so many dramatic experiences. And I want to help people, telling them that, hey, you don't have to be born a genius, but it's just about your mindset and how you show up every day with consistency. And that's the key. So that's pretty much how the whole transformation happened. And we can go a little bit more about different aspects of this transformation as well.
Yeah, so that's very, and again, not to touch too much on this point, but again, you came from another country. You had to literally learn so much about not only what it is to be here, but learn the cultures here, learn how to interact. And I love the fact that here you are at this point, and it took you a while, but you figured it out that, hey, I am enough. I know what my mindset is. I don't have to be a genius, but I can still help people. I still have the heart of a teacher who wants to go out and, again, you're sitting here coaching, again, CEOs, CTOs. You're teaching all these people all these wonderful skills, and again, you didn't start with every other advantage like somebody who was actually born here. And
right,
I love the fact, and I highlight this simply because there's so many people who feel like when they're living in this country who feel like they're disadvantaged. They have so many things up against them. And I said, you know what? You're born here. You know the culture. You know the language. Imagine coming from somewhere else, uncomfortable. You're leaving your home that you grew up in for all your life, coming here to go learn a new experience, a new life, new culture, new language, all the stuff here, and to still be able to be here and having this conversation with me. That says a lot about your character. I had I had a woman last night. She came from Poland. Same sort of deal.
Right. Yeah, it's our YouTube
yes
channel as well. I mean,
yeah.
the session. So
yeah. So shout out to Betta. Thank you so much. But again, coming from this country, and to have people like you coming here and taking full advantage of everything, and having wanting the hunger to go change your life first of all, and then turn around and use what you've acquired, the knowledge and the wisdom you've learned, to go on and start teaching other people. That's to me, that's very commendable about what you're doing, man. So
thanks, man.
Big ups on that, first of all. So I want to give you props for that. And then let's talk a little bit more about what you've been doing lately. So one of the things that really interested me is that you're writing a book. And I love this because I'm a writer as well. I'm writing a book as well. And
nice.
And it's all about, for me, the creative process and what we go through. So walk me through a little bit about some of the ideas that you came up with to think about even going and say, you know what, all of this stuff that I'm sharing, I need to put it in a book and put it out in the world. So what was your first few steps that made you think about even putting together a book? Because most people usually don't have that idea. They go, I'll create a video or something, but to write a whole book and put everything together, that, my friend, is a lot of work.
Oh my God, it is a lot of work, man. Yeah, tell me about it. But let's get back to your point, right? So yeah, before we get into my the book, which I just finished writing, and we're doing some production process in it, I went through a lot of cultural experiences, because we touched upon that a little bit before. Yeah. And the funny thing is, a lot of people have similar kinds of experiences, but people who are born here do not know that all immigrants have to go through all these things. They they don't know that we need to live a double life. What do I mean by that? One is we have to try to get away from our culture to adapt to this culture. And then you constantly have to be thinking whether you're using the right words, right actions, you're doing the right thing in a foreign country.
Oh.
Okay?
Yes.
And I have to tell you one funny story before I get into the reason I'm writing the book as well, because pretty much everything gels in the end. So I came in 2008 to the US, and I still remember this. It was August 31st, 2008. And so I landed at JFK Airport, and I get out of the gate, and I'm super excited. And if you think this accent is thick, dude, you should see in 2008, man. I had a thicker accent, man. And when I say thicker accent, thicker Texas accent. So the point is, so I get out of the gate, and then a person passes me and says, "Hey, how's it going?" Then I said, "Yeah, it's going good. And today is my first day. Just landed in the U.S." But she doesn't hear me. They just passed me and they just walked past me, right? I thought, what the hell, man? Whatever. Then I keep walking, and then another person passes me and says, "Hey, how's it going?" I said, "Yeah, it was a long flight trip. I just landed at JFK, and before I talked, they were just so rude. They just passed me." And then finally, I get out of the freaking airport, and then this, I would say mid-30s, pretty woman, and then she said, "Hey, how's it going?" I said, "You know what? I'm going to tell her how's it going." So I started following her, walking along with her, right? And then I said, "Yeah, it's going good. I came here to do my master's, and I'm super excited." And then she just turned to me and said, "Weirdo." And then she just walked past by, right? She just went by. Then I found out that no one gives a shit about how's it going in the US because it's a culture thing.
Yes.
And so that was a simple example. That's my first day, first hour in the US. That is my first hour in the US, and that was my experience. And since then, I have so many freaking funny stories. I'll tell you another funny story in a bit. But the point is, so since 2008 and till about 2016, I had to go through a lot of things in terms of challenges, personal life challenges, career challenges, mental challenges, because I suffered through anxiety, depression. I suffered burnout. I was admitted in the hospital for that. So there's a lot of different stories. And in 2016, I realized that I'm not alone, because when I speak at conferences in front of thousands of people, I get a chance to meet a lot of people and talk to them. Once you start talking to people one-on-one, then you find out that everyone is going through some of these things, and no one tells that story because either they're shy, they don't want to share that because they think, okay, people are going to judge me, or they are just not willing to share it because they think, you know what, it's just me. Other people are not like me, right? Anyways, that's when this idea came in. This was way back in 2016 that I should write a memoir about my life as an immigrant in a foreign land. Because in quick highlights, which happened, which is worth talking about, and that's the reason I'm talking. I wanted to write the book. Was in 2008, I applied for a boatloads of jobs, which I'll talk about in a bit. But then in 2011, I spent $3,000 of my own money to go to a conference just to learn. People thought I was crazy. And then in 2013, I gave my first conference talk after preparing for 7 months and 23. I did 23 trial runs of that one talk, and I gave it at the conference and was voted the best talk of the year, right? And then in 2016, I lost 50 pounds in 6 months. And then in 2017, in 4 months, I read 150 books. I listened to 150 podcasts and listened to read 28 books, right? So what all these experiences taught me was there's a lot of things I want to share with people. And that's when I thought I should write a book. And then coming to your point about why now, right?
Yeah.
So my original book was always going to be my memoir, because all these things we're talking about is just my career, but there's a lot of personal things which I've been through with my marriage, with my relationships, and a
Yeah.
lot of people go through that as well. But then the COVID happened. I was thinking 2020 was going to be my year, and COVID happened. And so what I did was I started doing free consultation to people who have lost jobs.
Yeah.
And I saw a recurring theme of different things people are struggling with. And then I tell them different strategies within which they didn't even think about. They said, man, that changed my life. That got me an interview. That got me a job. Then I thought, you know what? The need of the hour is write about different things I do to coach people and help them grow in their career and land their dream job. And that's when I I kind of pivoted and I wrote this book, which is called Skyrocket Your Career, the no bullshit approach to find your dream job, be successful in it, and transform into a rock star. So that's pretty much a high level whole story of why the book now, and why I'm writing about career advancement.
So one of the things that you had just mentioned, and I'm glad you sent it to me in your bio a little bit, was back in 2009, you applied for, get this, folks, get this, 1,293 jobs just to land one. So what was that process like? Because, most people would have probably quit after 20, 40, 60, So what was the drive behind it that kept you saying, you know what, I'm going to keep filling out, I'm going to do another application. I'm going to go online. I'm going to send another resume. I'm going to do it. What was the process behind that? I mean, what drove you to want to do that?
So I believe firmly in two quotes, which is really deeply ingrained in my heart. One is, tough times don't last, tough people do.
That's a good one.
And luck favors the brave. And those are two things which I stand by, I live my life by. So what drove me to apply for 1,293 jobs? So this is the thing. I was this happy guy who came in on August 31st, 2008 in the United States. And then September 7th, 2008, just a week later, Lehman Brothers fell. And for those of you listening who do not know who Lehman Brothers were, they were one of the largest financial firms in the world, and they fell, and the recession started. That triggered the recession.
Mm-hmm.
And finding jobs as an immigrant was so freaking hard. No one was ready to sponsor the work permit for me. And for immigrants, you need what is called a H-1B visa to work here. And no one is ready to sponsor me. And in my batch of 45 people in my master's program, half of them were international students. And for international students like us, we had two choices. One, finish your master's, go back to your home country, and then, live your life. Or two, do whatever it takes and see whether you can get a freaking job. So luckily, I chose the second option. And that's what happened. So I started in 2009, started applying for jobs like crazy. And from starting of 2009 till about end of 2009, that whole year, I applied for 1,293 jobs. And guess how many callbacks I got?
How many?
4.
Oh.
Which is a 0.3% conversion if you do the math. Again, I'm a nerd.
Wow.
But the point is, and then I converted to one job, and that was not a freaking full-time job. It was an internship where there's a condition. If you work for 6-8 months, we'll see how you do. And if we like you, then we're going to sponsor the work permit. So for the next 6 months, I worked my ass off. And then I proved to people that I can actually do the job. Right. And then I converted it. And since then, since 2009 timeframe till now, I've learned so many different strategies which have transformed my life from an entry-level job position into running a 6-figure business right now. And that's what this book is about, where I share different practical strategies which you can apply in your real job to find the dream job you're looking for, be successful in it, and then set you miles apart from the competition, right? And this book is pretty much the whole strategies, advanced LinkedIn strategies, resumes, and salary negotiation, interviews, etc., etc. So
let me ask you about these strategies. Are some of these strategies that you put in there, Are they also? Can you also say apply them to your personal life? So if you wanted to say, hey, you know what? Not only am I trying to change my career, I'm trying to change myself as a person. So is there ways in here? Have you put in there a few things that people can go through and say, you know what? Yes, that would work awesome in my career, but you know what? I could use it in my life as well.
Oh, great question. This book has a lot of strategies which does apply even in your personal life, not in your careers. So, for example, a lot of people suffer through this, especially people I talk to right now, saying, I don't know what my ideal job is. I don't know what I'm passionate about. I don't know what my interests are. Oh, no, I have to apply for this job. I have to apply for that job, but they don't even think whether that's the right job for them, right?
Yeah.
So I start people with what is called a mind dump exercise. What
Mm.
that is basically take a piece of paper, okay? Put a column right in between the paper. Write down all the things you like to do and all the things you hate to do. And then what you're going to do is, and this should be an uninterrupted session, like 30 minutes, lock your room. If you have kids, lock your kids. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. But the point is, just be in your room and then
Yeah.
focus and write down everything which comes, right? That's the
Yeah.
mind dump exercise. What that is going to do for you is you're going to figure out so many different things about you, the positive things, the strengths, that your passion, your interest. And then you're going to start, you'll find patterns in terms of what you could do. Like, for example, you like helping people, you like talking to people, and you like sharing your knowledge. And then you like working, collaborating with teams, collaborating with people. So then maybe your ideal job could be something in the business side, something like which needs teamwork and involves communication, right? So
Yeah.
the point is, you can, this simple exercise, trust me, I know it sounds really simple, but just doing that, you're going to find different patterns. And then you do what is called the bucket classification system, which is classify all these things into different buckets. For me, it's speaking, writing, and coaching. Those are the buckets. That's what I'm passionate about. Anyways, I go into more detail about how to do this, but the point is, so that is something which applies to your personal life as well, because it's not only your career, it could be health choices you want to make,
Yes.
personal life choices you want to make,
Yes.
relationship choices you want to make. Who do you want to date? Who do you want to marry? Who do you want to be with? Are you a good person? Right? There's so many things you can uncover. And similar to my the mind dump exercise, I also talk about different routines. Like, for example, I talk about deep work, where you focus on one particular task in time blocks. So say during a day, you have 8 hours, reserve 2 hours, block your calendar so that you don't get scheduled for meetings, or your wife or your husband does not come and disturb you. And then
Yeah.
focus on one thing which gives you interest, which gives you happiness in life. And that's deep work. And you do just that one focused work. So similar to these things, I talk about a lot of mindset change and life strategies, which you can apply in your career and your personal life as well.
Man, and that's awesome that you can, and that's why I ask people. So because sometimes I think it goes beyond just wanting to share what you do in between your hours of work, 8 to 5, because I think we really want to be able to live our lives passionately. We want to live our lives where we know we're not defined just by our careers. We can be defined by what we do as people and how we are as people. And these exercises that you're talking about are very, very crucial for a lot of folks to get a lot of things. I mean, some people can have a really, really great work balance, and then they might be suffering on the personal end with family life, or it might be the other way around. So using something like this and using these kind of practices and these tools can really help you structure a lot of things in your life, and at least get you on track in a direction to say, you know what, this is where I really want to be focusing a lot of my attention now. And then from there, you can actually go and start looking for help, looking for resources, looking for people that can help you work on a lot of these things if you don't know how to actually do it. So, man, I love the fact that you're really putting that out there, man. That
And
is
and you mentioned one really important thing called success. What does success mean to you? The world has changed, Gabriel. The point is, 5 years ago, at least in our generation and in our younger generation,
Yeah.
I think the word success has a different meaning compared to our previous generation people in the 1960s, right?
Yes.
People that success equates to having a lot of money, then fame, fortune, and I don't know, great
In,
relationship or whatever.
yeah,
Right?
influence, right?
Influence,
Yeah.
exactly. But I think with our generation and with the current generation, the younger generation, we are seeing a whole new revolution of entrepreneurial people. So
Yes.
what do I mean by that? Every person on this earth has some skill set. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between him or her being an entrepreneur is whether they actually try to work on it or try to give up on it. That's pretty much it. Everyone are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And I think in the past 4 or 5 years, there's this revolution and there's a lot of channels and support for people like us and people in our younger generation to actually do something meaningful, do something which actually makes an impact to other
Yes.
people. And
That's the word.
this is true. I can say this because I actually experienced this. For example, for the first 10 years of my IT career, I thought fame and money was everything. So I worked my ass off and then I volunteered to do everything at work. I was a rock star at work. I was a star performer in each and every company. I increased my salary by 150%. Through different salary negotiation techniques, which I also talk about in the book. But the
Yeah.
point is, I had everything. But then I think this happened in early 2018. Yeah. What happened was I suffered severe depression, anxiety, and burnout, and I was admitted in the hospital.
Mm.
And that's when I took this journey of self-discovery where for 4 months, I listened to 150 podcasts on motivation, mindfulness,
Yes.
in what, like anything which deals with meaning and purpose in life, then leadership, creativity, and then listen to 150 podcasts, 28 books. The point of, and then started talking to people like you and other people in the industry. What makes them tick? What defines success? How do they make an impact? What makes them happy? That's when I realized that, holy shit. So I was wearing the blinders, even though I was saying that I don't want to live a life by rules of other people, but I was actually enticed by what other people did in social media, right? So I was not true to my word. That's
Yeah.
when I pivoted early 2018. And since then, I'm super into the mindfulness space. In fact, it's so funny. When I argue with my wife, then she would say, "Don't go all monk on me," because I would say, "Yeah, honey, I hear you. I hear you. I want you to shout at me right now, right now." So anyway, the point is, mindfulness and meditation is something I really, really believe in. I'm a really skeptical person, but meditation specifically changed my life. I was under heavy medication for depression and anxiety. I'm out of all medication. Then I lost 50 pounds in 6 months, and all these things. The meditation was really helpful. But anyway, the point I wanted to make was success has a different meaning, and
Yes.
see what makes you happy and what makes an impact in your life and others. So that's what I think success should be equated to.
Yes. Right. I mean, in its own, your own definition, its own. You start believing in other people's definition of what success is, you're going to have a lot of those problems. Like my dear friend Annie says, she says that sometimes your words and your actions don't align. Um, so there's a lot of things that you're saying one thing, but you're not doing what you should be doing. And again, you can get out of whack. You can literally do what you did and get burned out. You can get where all of a sudden you're stress and anxiety, worry, depression, all these things start weighing on you. And sometimes for some people, that's all it takes for them to take them under. Not
Yep.
everybody recovers from that. You know,
Yeah.
there's people that have hundreds and millions of dollars, and yet they go out and they'll commit suicide. They'll go and they'll have the appearance of that person had everything. It looked like they had everything. They had fame, fortune, success, people around them, and yet they'll take their own lives, and it'll be due to something like He had severe anxiety. He had severe depression. He was
Exactly.
in this point, and it wasn't that point. It wasn't that point of feeling fulfilled. There was
Right.
something missing. You're going, you know what? I have all this. Something is still not there. Something's not right.
That's
And
why I think mental health is really, really important. And it's like a stigma that, okay, men cannot show their vulnerability and
right.
emotion.
Yes.
And I've, I've found out that when you actually be really open and vulnerable, then it opens up, gives other people an opportunity to open up to you. And that's how you make relationships. That's how you make meaning. That's how you have some purpose in life. And really, I would highly encourage people who are listening here, just do one thing. Like tomorrow, just share one personal thing to your colleague, right?
Yeah.
And it depends upon what you think is personal. And then think about it, how it makes you feel, and see whether that other person opens up to you. And I kid you not, 99% of the time, the other person will start opening up to you and you develop this bond. And how is that going to help you? Lasting relationships, and then in your career as well. Whenever you're in a shithole at work, the other person is voluntarily going to help you out,
Yeah.
right? And that's why you need to be a giver. And I also talk about this in detail as well, how you can do that. But the point is, yeah, I know. But we started talking about success and mental health, but I thought it was a really good thing which people need to know, because you're seeing a live example of a person who has been through all these situations. I still have, go through depression and stuff. But the point is, since once I kind of changed my mindset, and my focus was to serve people,
Mm.
that helped me to lead a better life. And I've seen this practicing it. Of course, I'm not perfect.
Of
I'm a work
course.
in progress, but I've totally changed my mindset. And that's pretty much what that's my base of my coaching as well. We start
Yeah.
from the mindset, because this is what I tell people. So people who come to me are usually, some people earn like $60,000 and they come to me saying, I want to make $120,000. Some people say, I'm earning 150, but I want to take it to like 230K, right? And this is what I tell them. If you think you're worth only $60,000, your actions, the things you do, the way you think is going to reflect a person who is worth $60,000. If you feel
Yes.
you're worth $220,000, the way you think, the actions, the things you do, your body language, the way you talk, your confidence, everything reflects a person who is going to make a $220,000 salary. So it's in your brain, it's your mindset.
Yes.
And that's pretty much the basis. And I'm not talking about rocket science. Everyone knows it, but it's just like going to the gym. Everyone knows going to the gym is going to make you healthy, but no one wants to get there. That's when you have gym trainers, and then I'm a tech career coach. That's pretty much the difference.
Right. And again, we all have that option. We all have the opportunity. Like my friend Marcello says, the law of reciprocity,
Yeah.
right? It is that is so true, and it is so important. And again, we all have. You're not explaining. You're not reinventing the wheel. You're not changing the way things are. You're explaining things that have been out there for years. It's just the fact that people. You really have to be in that. You got to be in that right place where you want to put things into action. I think that's one of the most important things to do. And like you said, if you feel like you're only worth $60,000, that's what life and everything around you is going to be. That's what's going to
Right.
reflect. That's the environment you're going to put around there.
And
That's
this is
why.
what I tell people. I know with COVID-19, a lot of people have been affected, including me, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm super frank and open. If you talk to me, this is how I talk, right? And I also swear quite a bit, but since we are on live this thing, so I'm actually controlling. But the point is, what I'm trying to make is, um, COVID has affected a lot of people, and people feel, oh my God, my life is really bad right now. Of course, people are personally affected by COVID, and if they have death and stuff, I'm really sorry about that, and that's really hard. But I'm just talking about in general, when people feel COVID has taken over their life, and if they have a job and still have a steady salary, um, they still feel that they're stuck, then this is what I tell them. Now we have COVID. Before we had 2008 recession, then you had the anthrax scare, then you had 9/11. In the future, you're going to have a lot of other shit you have to deal with, because this is the truth. Life is a freaking bitch. Okay,
Yes.
it's going to throw a curveball when you least expect it. So what you can do is, you have to remember, you don't control the circumstances, but you can control your actions under any circumstance.
Yes.
And that's what you need to keep in mind, right? And that's what I'm trying to do. And this whole book thing, I never planned on writing it this year. And for people listening to me, I'll tell you like what life I'm currently living. So I have my wife who's in the other room, who's working full time, and then I have a 9-month-old infant who stays with us because with COVID, we still not sending him to daycare. And the point is, so literally I get only 4 or 5 hours, okay, to run a business, do my keynote talks. I have 5 keynotes this year. I was doing 16 other talks as well, and then I'm writing this book. But in spite of all that, I thought, you know what? I have to do what gives me meaning and purpose. And what gives me purpose right now is writing this book. So since first week of April, every day from 8 to 10 p.m., I wrote 2,500 words every day. And I literally finished the entire content of the book in a month, right? Ooh. The main content. And then I've been taking some time to make it a template and then make different worksheets so that people can have actionable steps to actually do things with their career. But what I'm coming to say is, you just have to pivot. If COVID throws you curveballs, just think about what other things you could do and then just go with it. There's no right or wrong. The wrong thing is not doing anything about it.
Exactly. You're speaking to the choir, because I've heard people say, you know what? I want to do over on 2020. I don't. I'll tell you right now, I'm one of those who say I don't want to redo on 2020, because 2020 has been one of the greatest years of my life, even in the midst of COVID-19. I'm working on writing 2 books. I am doing a live show, which again, kind of like your book, I never planned to do. It was a whole thing about challenging myself. I've kind of like you, I've lost 45 pounds.
Awesome. Congrats.
Really, I started running again, which is awesome. And I've started watching my health. I've become a vegetarian, and I'm doing a lot of different things to really impact my life. I don't want to go back to what I was doing before. That life and what I was doing before, that was not something I was happy with. And I'm kind of like you. I've gone on my journey of self-discovery. I've gone down my path of enlightenment. I'm looking for the ways that are going to help me become the person. And I say this is the line I tell everybody. I am becoming the man of my dreams. So I am working really hard to become what I've always known that I could be up in here. I just never put it into action. So, like
that's
you,
what people. Sorry, you're saying something. I was just going to say that's what people say. Limiting beliefs. Mm-hmm. Limiting beliefs. So you believe that you can do only something to a certain level, that just because other people said so. And then once you get out of that shell, and then you discover, holy shit, I can do a lot of things which I didn't know I could do. Like, for example, just before this live show, you're saying that you started this like 6 months ago. And you're doing all this fancy restream thing, which is super fancy. And then you Googled it to how to do it. And that's how life is about, man. The point is, yes, I do have a fancy degree. Like, I have a master's in software engineering. But what I tell people is, no one gives a shit about degrees anymore. It's all about what you bring to the table, what's the experience, and how you can make a difference compared to other people. Because this is the thing. Let's just take the jobs example, because people can relate to it. So there have been 30 million jobs which have been lost in the past 3 months. Okay, 30 million jobs in the US alone. Okay, so say you're applying for a software developer job, or say a sales rep job. in every company, there are like freaking 1,000 people applying for the same freaking job. So
Yeah.
why would they pick you compared to other people? That's what you need to do. So everyone can have the same resume, but it all depends upon how you build your brand, how you show up, what things you do to set you miles apart from other people around you, right? So there's this quote, which also, again, I'm a sucker for quote. Actually,
Yeah.
I don't want to turn the laptop right now because I know it's going to mess up shit. But I have all these inspirational quotes right here on the side.
Oh, I
And
love them.
there's this quote which says that to be extraordinary, you need to go the extra mile. That's what makes the difference. To be extraordinary, you want to go the extra mile, and that's what separates normal people from the legends, because they do legendary work.
Yeah.
And you just have to start to be great.
Yeah.
You don't have to be great to be started. That's a Zig
Sorry,
Ziglar quote. So yeah,
Zig
that's a
Ziglar,
Zig Ziglar quote. So
I was fixing to say that one right at the top of my head. That's one of my favorites. Is Zig Ziglar's quote. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. That is, and there's so much truth in a lot of these things that that these guys say. I mean, a lot of these quotes and a lot of these things. There's so much truth that underlies what you're talking about, because it's there for a reason. It resonates for a reason. People hear them and they go, I needed to hear that. That's incredible. So I love the fact that you did that, because we kind of mirrored a lot about them on our journeys, because I used to listen to tons of motivational speakers, tons of them. I mean, you name just about every single motivational speaker out there, I've heard or listened or read something about them. So I was taking that in an enormous pace, and I'm doing what you were doing now with books. I take in about anywhere from 3 to 4 audiobooks a week.
Wow, that's awesome.
Because I drive.
With my kid crying on the side, I try to get through 3 pages. I'm not an audiobook kind of guy because I'm this notes kind of guy. I immediately open an Evernote and start taking notes. Oh wow, this. Oh wow, that. You know what?
Yeah.
This, but that's great, man. But reading and learning from other people's experiences, and that's how people grow. It's not rocket science. Just like Google, people have already written books, gone through your same journey. Just take the golden nuggets and see how it applies to your life, and then you can customize it based on how you do it, right? So whatever I'm doing right now is based on my real life experience, my coaching. But I learned strategies on how to show up, how to be consistent, how to do the mindset change from a lot of books and podcasts I read. So it's not that I came up with everything from scratch, but it's about what you learn along the journey.
Exactly right. I mean, that's one of the things that I tell everybody that when they start going down that path, is look for a lot of things that you're going to find that connect with you, and start Googling and start YouTubing a lot of these things. You'll start realizing that there's so much information out there. There's so many resources you can go find that will help you start whatever it is that you need to kickstart. So if it's, you got to start getting your health under control. There's so many resources to get you started. I mean, really look at a lot of things that you can do and change in your life. Your eating habits, sleeping habits, exercise, all these things. You can go find all these resources all over the place. Or if it's changing your career, I mean, it's
right.
There's so many different things out there. So if that's the part of your journey that you need to concentrate on first, man, go out there and just really start looking. And then once you figure out a path that you want to start going down, that's when you go out and start reaching out to people. Start looking for people who have a lot of the same interests. A lot of the people that, again, that's why I say social media is a really good tool to use to find people like that, is to go, oh man, I've read about this, or I saw this guy Raj on Gabriel's show. I want to go connect with him. Let me send him a connection. I love what he was talking about. He's like me. I came from another country. I wanted to start doing all this stuff. Boom, instant connection. People can start doing that. And this is what one of the main words, 2 words that you've used in this conversation that I love, that whenever I hear people say it, my eyes light up. Number 1 is impact, and number 2 is to serve. When I hear people say those 2 things in what they're talking about, man, it makes my heart go, awesome. That is an incredible person, because those are 2 things that I really love to talk about and really love to emphasize in what I do every day. I love making impact. My show may not make impact today, it may impact tomorrow, 2 weeks from now, a month from now. Somebody might find a video and connect, and I'll get a message.
Exactly. This is the thing, Gabriel. The point is, even if our conversation impacted at least one person listening today, that's pretty much what you need. And that person is going to remember you. And that's what it's all about. And then then people start talking about the impact you're making. And then they want you to share more of your experiences so that you can inspire other people through your stories, through your experiences, because people relate to stories. And real life stories, and that's what we are currently doing as well. Me sharing my real life story, and then we having a conversation.
Yeah, and that's one of the books that I'm writing about is my journey behind a microphone. What I've learned from day one until I got to episode 100, and what I've learned from every single guest. What value they added, what things that what experiences, wisdom, and nuggets that I've taken from each one of these people. I'm putting it into a book, and that's, to me, that's been like my form of therapy. So, and please
I know we were talking about some meta and serious stuff. So remember, I was telling you I was going to tell you another funny story about my real life immigrant experience. Let's break ice to make people smile a little bit, but hopefully they'll smile, because trust me, we are not actually really serious people, but we're just trying to, it seems like we both are like mentally the same wavelength, and we just keep, connecting and feeding off each other. So this is another story and really happened. So this is my master's program. It was my first quarter. It's like the first semester. We had a quarter system. But anyways, during the final exam, it was an open book exam where you can refer to a book, but then they have a list of questions and you have to write down answers for it, and you can refer to the book, but it's more about critical thinking. And so 20 minutes into the exam, we were asked to write our answers in pencil. And then there were multiple choice questions, and you take those questions and whatever. The point is, and then 20 minutes into the exam, I didn't have an eraser. I forgot my eraser. So I stood up in front of 45 people. I said, "Excuse me, professor." She said, "What? Can I have a rubber, please?" That's what I said. Okay, so in my defense, before people who are listening come to conclusions, okay, this is where cultural context and immigrants go through, okay? Rubber in India means eraser, okay? Here, rubber means condom. So the point is, so in front of 45 people, I said, do you have a rubber? And then everyone looked at me and people started laughing. I said, then why are you laughing? Then the person next to me said, "Dude, do you know what that means, right?" I said, "Yeah, dude, I just want to rub this pencil mark," which I did. And then, anyway, to cut a long story short, that was another experience as well. So the point is, I have a lot of stories like this, but just to let people know, this is what immigrants go through. And even when sneezing, people say, "Bless you." Yeah. They don't do that in India. So whenever I was sneezing, a person next to me would say, "Bless you, bless you." Why is he blessing me? So I know this funny, and yes, it is funny, but the point is, we have to go through so many experiences. And right now, in the tech industry, for example, we work with people from different cultures, and it's really, really important to understand where they're coming from. And when they say something, which means different things over here, instead of immediately coming to conclusions and then making fun of the person, just ask a clarifying question saying, "What do you mean by that? Were you meaning you wanted to ask this, or were you meaning you really wanted to ask this?" And that helps to learn from each other, right? Yeah. So I do a lot of diversity and inclusion workshops and stuff where I talk about these real life experiences. And then people actually come to me after the workshop and said, "Thanks for telling that to people, because I have gone through that experience." Yes, I've gone through that experience. And apparently a lot of people go through the same experiences. But that's my second funny story for the day. I have a lot of stuff coming up, but yeah, based on time, I can just keep saying stuff.
That's a good one, though. And again, It is an inference on a word that, again, in one set of culture it means one thing, in another set of culture it means a whole different.
Whole different thing, man. Seriously. And even body language and tone of voice and even in my culture, people do the head bob this
Yeah,
way, right? And it's a culture thing, and people in the US do not understand what that means. And I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying that we have different
yeah,
cultural experiences, and once you go through it, sometimes it's funny. For me, I really wanted to follow this saying that when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So I really wanted to learn and adapt to this culture, and that's how big. And I also speak for a living in front of thousands of people, so I wanted to had the right pronunciation. And I worked really hard on everything, and people do not know this. As I'm speaking right now, in back of the mind, I already know that I have to keep pronouncing words correctly in the US format, because in India we pronounce words differently. There's
yeah.
so much shit we have to go through as immigrants, man. It's not only the visa shit. It's just also how you talk to people. But anyhow, that's about some of my cultural experiences though.
I love that though. So, all right, let me get to the question that I asked. This is the money question I ask every single guest that comes on the show. So let me go ahead and ask you. So when the book is said and done on you, Raj, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind, and what do you want to be remembered for?
That's a great question. I think I didn't see the last questions you asked other speakers, so I didn't know that you were going to ask this question. I'm just kidding. No, that's a great question. So I recently listened to a podcast where there was this amazing quote, which I think it was by, oh, I know where I saw this from. It was from Hamilton. I just finished watching Hamilton last week. They say, legacy is the seeds you sow, which you'll never see.
Yes.
Legacy is the seeds you sow, which you'll never see. Alexander Hamilton, the protagonist of the show, says that. Holy shit! For me, I got goosebumps. See, I immediately get energized when I hear these things. So the point is, so for me, I don't think about, okay, I need this fame, this fortune when I leave, because when you leave, you cannot take all these things with you. The only thing which you can take, literally you cannot take anything with you, but the only thing you can leave behind, which is more helpful for people, is the impact which you make in other people's lives, right? The impact you made for people. So when I die, in my funeral, if a lot of people mourn my death because of the impact, that's what is going to help me. I don't know whether there's an afterlife. I'm not a religious guy, but I'm a spiritual guy. I believe in the universe. And if I've impacted people to help them lead better lives, to make a great career so that they can support their family, to make them, to show them that it's okay to think that you're average. I won't say okay to be average. It's the way you think. So it's okay to think you're average, but you can always make a difference, because this is the thing. Everyone has a gift. We were born on this earth to do something about it. It's our responsibility to actually discover what it is and then unravel it gradually, step by step, right? And people then say, man, I cannot change. It's going to be hard. Let me tell you this, it's never too late to make a change. For me, the first 20 years I was living a false identity. I thought I was never good enough. I can never be able to speak to people. But then after the first 20 years, I slowly, gradually started taking small steps. And now I'm an international keynote speaker who speaks in front of thousands of people. So if an average guy like me can do it, any freaking person on this earth can do it. So my answer for your question would be the impact which you make people. That's what I think is going to be long lasting, because you cannot take anything with you.
Awesome. I love that. And I always tell everybody it's like this, just so you know. And Nishant just says, hey, he's launched his podcast on romantic relationships, and he's telling me he wants both of us on it again. So
yeah, dude. I would love to be on that podcast, because my wife is actually she is American European descent. So from where I come from, you don't marry out of your caste. It's a whole different discussion. So I had to go through a whole journey about that as well. But yeah, the point is, I totally get what he's saying. So
Yeah, and again, that's wonderful. And I kind of would say I equate it to like growing a redwood tree. And here when they grow redwood trees, a redwood tree will fully mature, can take up to 100 years. So you won't see it reach its full potential, but you know that you planted it, and that's what's important. And it's the same thing when I tell about people about legacy. You know what? I don't have to see. I won't be. I know I won't be here to see the results of what I planted, but I know before I left that I planted them here, and they'll continue to grow. And as long as I've spent the time teaching the right people how to nourish it, man, it can grow unlimited. It can go to different levels. And I mean, we don't ever know again what kind of impact what we do. So, and I tell everybody this: Charles Dickens never knew what his books would impact people the way they do now.
mm-hmm.
When he wrote them now, and yet they're still studied, they're still read, they're still everywhere. So you know what? Guess what? That's what his legacy is. That's what he's left behind. His words is written. So, that book that you're writing, it could be a legacy in 20 years, 40 years. Hey, it really meant something and it really changed people's lives, and that's awesome. So, yeah. So Nishant, it says he's from India as well, so he knows
Exactly. Yeah. So
So you guys need to connect because I'm pretty sure you guys have a lot in common to talk about, and I love
so
that.
as part of my memoir, I was going to talk about my relationship and my journey into like with my wife and what were the different struggles, what are the different wins we had to go through to bond in our relationship and make it successful, because we had a lot of society pressures and cultural differences. It's a whole different thing. It's like a Bollywood movie. Trust me, it's just like a Bollywood movie. You'll see those shit only in Bollywood movie, but the point is, it happened, but it made us stronger.
Yeah.
That's the best part, right? And this is what we have been talking about from the start of the podcast. Adversities
Yes.
makes you better. Life is like this tennis ball.
Yeah.
The lower it goes, it has to freaking bounce up. Okay. And then I know some random people would say, what if I poke a hole in the freaking tennis ball? Then it's up to you, buddy. But the point is, it still is going to bounce up.
Yes.
And that's what life is all about. And I want to leave people with this quote. And I want people to just ponder on this quote because it's so true. It's by Confucius, the Roman philosopher, a Greek philosopher. But the point is, this is what he said. We all have two lives. The second one starts when we realize we have only one. We all have two lives. The second one starts when we realize we have only one. Because today, now I'm talking to you. Tomorrow, I don't know what's going to happen. So, like Eminem in his song,
Mm-hmm.
in Lose Yourself, in that 8 Mile, he
Yep.
talked about grab the opportunity, squeeze it, hold it, right?
Yes.
That's what you need to do, man. That's what you need to do. And
You
man,
gotta take it. You gotta take that moment. Take the opportunity when it's there. You never know what's gonna happen. You never know where it's gonna take you. So yes, I love that, man. That's a great quote. I even love the quote you said about Confucius. That's awesome. Folks, if you're not connected with Raj, please, 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 man, check him out. And you can also check out his book, which is coming out in October.
yep, first week of October, it'll be available on Amazon and worldwide. The pre-orders will start.
So awesome. And then you can just send me, if you want to, you can, once you have that information, you can just send me the pre-links and I will be more than glad to share them. And here's, there are already links in the comments, guys, but those are the links to all his social media. You can go check it out. And then you can also go to his website, check it out there as well. There's the link, guys. Click on the link. It'll take you to his website. You can check out all his services, everything that he offers. Raj, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show, man. I really had a really great time, and I love these kind of conversations. I love vibing with people who have the same kind of thought process as I do. So I love. We could probably sit here and talk for another hour. So.
I know. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. It's because of people like you, people like me can share their stories to the world. So you're doing a service. You're already making an impact by bringing in people like me. I'm not saying I'm the greatest of podcast interviewees, but what I'm trying to say is you're providing the channel for people to share their story, and then you doing what you do, starting this only 6 months ago, and already making such an impact. Kudos to you, man. Love you, man. Love you, brother. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Yes.
And yeah, if anyone wants to connect with me, want to just talk about anything, I love beer, sports, football. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. And I'm a Cleveland guy. I'm a Cavs fan as well. So yeah, if you want to jam on anything, hit me up. It's COVID, man. People have to talk, make connections. So
there you go, brother.
I would be more than glad to connect with you.
All right. So everybody, thank you so much for coming on and having a great conversation with me and Raj. I do appreciate you as always. Raj, sit tight for a second. I just want to have a few words with you afterwards. Everybody else, you guys have a great evening. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Stay blessed, man, and go out there and enjoy life. I will be back Monday evening, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. I will be in another one of our 4-hour roundtable discussions where we will be talking about systemic racism, bringing up these issues, things that we need to really share and to talk about. So Monday evening, 7 o'clock, we'll be back with that, guys. So you have a great weekend. Bye-bye, everybody. Well, come on now. There we go. Here we go.